Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, the Bio Tutor. And you can follow me on TikTok at the underscore bio underscore tutor. In episode 1 in Introduction to Biology, we learned about what is biology, importance of biology, and then some branches of biology. Today, we'll be looking at characteristics of living things and the Introduction to Biology. Living organisms are described based on their ability to perform certain activities. Therefore, let's define living organisms. Living organisms are organisms that have cells and can perform certain activities called life processes. Or as well, you can say living organisms are organisms that have life and can perform certain activities called life processes. There are 7 major life processes, but in the new curriculum, there has been additional 3. So we will look at the 7 and then the additional 3 which has been added to it. We have movement. So let's define movement. Movement refers to the changes in position of a whole or part of an organism. So the changes in position of a whole organism or part of an organism. So if you can see, example, human can change the position of a whole body. So an example of this activity can be running. So if you are running, you are changing the position of the whole body. And then another example, roots of plants, when they are moving towards a source of water, meaning that part of the plant is being moved and not the whole plant. So some people do ask, do plants undergo movement? Yes, of course, they undergo movement. All right. So in a situation whereby an organism is moving the whole body, is what we are saying it is locomotion. Now, plants move parts of their bodies, whilst animals move their entire body. And then the type of movement in which or that involves the whole body of an organism is termed as locomotion. Now, in plants, when they are moving towards a source of stimuli, it becomes a different term we give to it. And then when we get to sensitivity, we talk about it. So we have nastism, we have tropism, we have tactic movement as well. All right, let's look at respiration. Respiration refers to the breakdown of food, into bracket glucose, to release energy with or without oxygen. Now, in a situation whereby autotrophs are already done preparing their food, living organisms go for the food. The heterotrophs go for the food. And then when they go for the food, we are saying that there will be a breakdown of this food, which is called glucose, to release energy. So the main product of respiration is energy. All right. There are 2 main types of respiration. We have the external respiration and we have the internal respiration. So when we get to respiration properly, we will talk about a detailed respiration. Let's look at sensitivity. Sensitivity refers to the response to internal or external stimuli. Sensitivity can also be called irritability, and we are saying that it refers to the response to internal or external stimuli. All right. A stimuli is any condition that requires a response. Plants react slowly to stimuli, whilst animals react quickly to stimuli. So somebody will say, why aren't plants sensitive? They are sensitive, but they react slowly to stimuli. And then animals react very quickly to stimuli. That is why when somebody slaps you, in a split second, it pains you and then you want to react. And then the response you sometimes give, since the slap is a bad stimuli or a negative stimuli, the response you give is a negative response. It's either you slap the person back or you tend to frown showing the person that the stimuli is causing harm. Okay. The only exceptional plant is Mimosa pudica. Now, Mimosa pudica is the only exceptional plant that you see to be very sensitive, and then you can see it physically. So we have another plant, the Venus flytrap. We have the yes. So those are the insectivorous plants. Okay. Examples of a stimuli are, we have light, we have temperature, we have touch, and then etc. So now these stimuli will cause or will affect the organism, and then will cause a response. So we have internal stimuli too as well. So let's say when the stimuli is hot internally, and then the walls of your stomach tend to react to the stimuli, especially when you eat banku or when you take in banku, and then the banku is too hot in your stomach. It tends to pain you, and you tends to give a response which is a negative response, showing the person that, or showing what is happening, or telling an organism that what is happening to you is very bad. Great. So let's talk about another positive one too. So let's say a stimuli like light. Now remember that plants move towards a source of light for photosynthesis, right? And then that response is when plant is moving, and that should tell you that a source of light becomes a positive stimuli. Okay, let's talk about growth. Growth refers to the irreversible increase in size and weight of an organism. Now, growth is irreversible. Growth occurs through an increase in the protoplasm of a cell. Growth in plants occurs at the tip, and then we refer to it as apical growth. Whilst growth in animals occurs uniformly throughout the body. So when you compare your age from day one you were born, now to, I don't know the age you are, now to the age you are presently, you see that there has been a transformation, meaning cell division has occurred, and then there has been an increase in size and weight. And then it is irreversible. Nobody can tell me that when you are 24 years or when you've increased in size and weight, you can go back to the size and weight you were in, or you can go back to year one. It will never happen. And then it has never happened to us all. Let's look at reproduction. Reproduction refers to the increase in number of organisms of their own kind, or it is the process by which living things give rise to young ones of their own kind. There are two kinds of reproduction. We have the sexual and then the asexual. Now, the sexual reproduction involves gametes. In sexual reproduction, offsprings are produced by the fusion of gametes. And then in asexual reproduction, offsprings are produced without fusion of gametes. Now, in sexual reproduction, there should be a fusion of the male and then the female gamete to form a zygote. Now, in this instance, we are saying that the nucleus of the male and then the nucleus of the female gamete meet together, exchange genetic material, and then they will produce a new offspring of their own kind. That is why they sometimes say if a child does not resemble the mother, he or she resembles the father. In tree, you will say akwala nse oni a ɔsɛ ɔsɛ. Great. Now let's look at asexual reproduction. Now, asexual reproduction does not involve the fusion of any gamete, or there is no fertilization going on. But here, or at this instance, we are using the organisms or the parent organism's own body parts to regenerate an offspring. So, example is stem cutting under vegetative propagation. In stem cutting, we take cassava, cut the stem, and then fix the buds in the soil. And then this stem will regenerate the leaves, fruits, and then the food or the tubers as well. So in this instance, we are using the own body parts or the yes, the own body part to regenerate another organism. And that is asexual reproduction. It does not involve any fusion of gametes. Okay. So let's look at excretion. Excretion refers to the removal of metabolic waste substances from the body of an organism. Metabolism is the sum total of catabolism and anabolism. So let's define catabolism. In catabolism, there is a breakdown of complex molecules into simpler molecules. So, kata, make the analogy to be like scatter. Here, we are breaking down complex molecules into smaller molecules. So, like let's say we are having a block in a block factory where we've made one block, and then we want to destroy the block. We strike the block with a hammer, and then these blocks breaks down, and then when it breaks down, it will form soil. That should tell you that soil plus mortar plus water, or soil plus cement plus water formed this block. Okay, so a critical example in biology. Now, proteins. We know that proteins are being made of amino acids. Therefore, in catabolism, we want to break proteins down because we are saying we are breaking down complex molecules. So if you are breaking proteins down, we will be having series of amino acids that has come together to form proteins. So when we break proteins down, we will see amino acids. Another example, let's take glucose, C6H12O6. So that should tell you that if you are breaking glucose down, you'll be getting carbon dioxide, you'll be getting hydrogen, and then at the same time, you'll be getting oxygen too as well. Okay. Now let's look at anabolism because we are saying that metabolism is the sum total of catabolism and then anabolism. So anabolism, the analogy should be like we are gathering. We are gathering. Great. So it refers to the build up of complex molecules from simpler ones. Example, amino acid plus another amino acids will literally, two or more amino acids will literally form proteins. So meaning that here we are going to build a house, and in the house first we need a block. And then before we get a block, we are saying we need soil, we need water, we need cement to create this mortar and then to form a block, and then we have to build the complex molecule we are talking about. So in anabolism, it should be amino acids, two or more amino acids that has come together to form proteins. Another example, under the same glucose. So we have carbon dioxide plus hydrogen plus oxygen. So we are having 6 of carbon dioxide, hydrogen of 12, and then we have oxygen atoms of 6 to form glucose. Okay. Let's look at nutrition. Now, in excretion, we are saying that anabolism also refers to the build-up or synthesis of larger molecules from simpler ones. Plants do not have a special excretory organs. However, animals have a special excretory organs to get rid of their waste substances. The excretory organs in higher animals include the lungs, liver, kidney, and skin. Okay, let's look at nutrition. Nutrition refers to the process by which organisms obtain and use their food. a process by which organisms obtain and use their food. There are two main types of nutrition. We have the autotrophic nutrition and then we have the heterotrophic nutrition. In autotrophic nutrition, organisms are using simple inorganic substances to produce complex organic substances. So, literally, organisms are preparing their own food. Whilst in heterotrophic nutrition, organisms are obtaining food that has already been prepared by the autotrophs. Examples of autotrophic nutrition are photosynthesis and then chemosynthesis. Now, example of heterotrophic nutrition are holozoic, saprophytism, parasitism, and so on and so forth. Plants are autotrophic, whilst animals are heterotrophic. Plants are autotrophic, whilst animals are heterotrophic. All right. So we have some few life processes which were not added here. And then we are saying we have lifespan. Now, in lifespan, it is the definite period within which an organism exists or survives. So, mosquitoes have a lifespan of 21 days, toads have a lifespan for 10 years, and then man have a lifespan, as the Bible persists, that we have a lifespan of 70 years. Some plants may live more than 100 years. Likewise, man. Let's look at another life process. Competition. Competition refers to the ability of an organism to struggle for vital resources. Now, living organisms compete for nutrients, oxygen, space, water, and even mates. Let's look at the last one, adaptation. Adaptation refers to the ability of organisms to develop structures or adjust behaviors in order to survive in the environment. So sometimes you say you adapt to certain situations so that you can survive in that particular environment you are living in. Now, as we've talked about characteristics of living things, then there should be substances that are not or that do not undergo these characteristics. And then we are saying that such substances are called non-living things. So let me take you back. If living things are organisms that have life and can perform certain activities called life processes, then non-living things are organisms that do not have life and cannot perform certain activities called life processes. Let's look at the difference between living things and the non-living things. I am giving you two, and then I hope you add the rest to it. Living things can move on their own, but non-living things cannot move on their own. Living things can respire or can undergo respiration, but non-living things do not respire. Living things can grow, but non-living things do not grow. Okay, so please try and then find out the rest of the difference between living things and the non-living things. This is the end of today's class. Make sure you follow my page and then subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye bye.